Hello and welcome or welcome back to Meditations for Our Racial Justice Journey. I'm Janet Thompson Jackson and I'm glad you're with me today. Today I want to have as our theme embracing uncertainty. There's a lot of uncertainty right now, and I think that there's probably not a lot of embracing it. There's a lot of resisting the uncertainty that's in our lives that's been kind of forced upon us with COVID, even with the racial unrest, as it has been termed, that people are experiencing. Not necessarily what was expected, and a lot of uncertainty around the changes that we're seeing as a society, needed changes. But obviously, some are resisting quite greatly, and that's why we are on this journey for racial justice. But also, embracing uncertainty is a topic that is very personal for me. I am what you would call a recovering anxiety addict. And I don't use that word lightly. And I am not saying that even in a light way or in a way to jest. I'm very serious about that. For those who have known me for years and years since I was very young, I think that would resonate with them, that I was a very anxious person. And so that's been a lifelong journey for me. And even though it was well hidden, and I think that certainly is the case where people who, and I'm going to stay with, again, in a respectful way, but in a way that I feel is really matches my experience, in a way that addiction works. You can hide it, right? You can hide things so that you appear differently than what's going on in the inside. And that was what I lived for a very long time. And probably a breakthrough for me happened over a decade ago when a spiritual guide of mine talked to me about being fearful, being anxious, and being afraid of the future. Because that is a lot of what my fear and anxiety was rooted in. This fear of what's going to happen. And I used to, try to control everything. I dealt with uncertainty in the future by trying to control everything in my life. And we know that doesn't work, right? But this breakthrough happened, and I want to share with you some of the nuggets that I learned from that experience. And I will tell you, even though it happened over a decade ago, it took me years to live into this. Some of it I'm still living into. This is a lifelong lesson. I've decided, I now realize this is my life lesson. When I was a child, I used to have a desire to be less anxious. And I feel like this is a lesson that is just mine for this journey, for the journey of my life. And I haven't perfected it. I don't expect to. But I've seen so much progress. So these are some of my nuggets. Surprises in life are just that, surprises, not inconveniences. I now look at synchronicities in life. I look for synchronicities in life, and I enjoy them, and I view them as kind of signs and guideposts of the harmony of the universe, instead of as, again, just weird coincidences or sometimes inconveniences. I've learned to honor instead of fear the mysteries of life. I don't need to know everything. I've learned to honor instead of fear the mystery of the future. I'm no longer afraid of or embarrassed by or inconvenienced by my imperfections. I have really learned to embrace and to love my whole self. And the last one that I'll share with you right now, I have a lot more nuggets, but the last one for now is that I have gained so much clarity about whose life I'm living. And when I started to be more concerned about living according to my own inner expectations and what my inner guidance was telling me, rather than by trying to live up to outside expectations, my life changed and my anxiety changed. And so I invite you during this time to think about how you have or how you've resisted embracing uncertainty. And so let's get settled in. And one of the reasons why meditation is so important to me and self-care is so important to me is because those are my tools. That's the program that I work in order to maintain my what I call my anxiety sobriety, right? In order to maintain that space, I'm not always exactly there. I'm not perfect, but I have an anchor that I come back to. I have an anchor. So let's get settled in and let's anchor ourselves in our breath right now. So close your eyes or lower your gaze. And just feel your body start to relax. Feel your body start to melt. Feel your eyes start to soften and your jaw. Feel your shoulders start to drop away from your ears, and the muscles in your back start to relax. Feel your stomach completely relax. No holding in. Feel your hips and your thighs sink into your seat. And just place your feet in that spot that's going to allow your lower body to just completely relax. And as you take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth, let something go that's not serving you. Let some fear go. Let some anxiety go. Let something that you're holding on a little bit too tightly to go with the breath. One more time. And now I invite you to think about your relationship with uncertainty. Without judgment, without criticizing yourself, without thoughts of, well, I should think, well, or I wish, let all that go. Simply think about, when you think about the uncertainty of the future, what comes up for you? This is just about awareness. what comes up for you. And try to keep your body in that relaxed posture, because that is going to promote some inner honesty. Just relax into it. Give yourself permission to be here and to be vulnerable with yourself. What comes up for you when you think about letting go of the illusion of control? What is your relationship with uncertainty? Are you willing to loosen your grip? To open your hand? What would that look like for you? What would it look like for you to embrace surprises in life and not view them as inconveniences? What would it look like to embrace the mysteries of life? Not always need to know the answer or understand why. Just to embrace that there are some things that you won't know, that you may not understand, and that you can live with that. What would it look like to embrace your imperfections? To not always try to polish and make everything seem perfect and shiny and new on the outside. What if you embraced your authentic, imperfect self? What if you loved that imperfect, authentic self? That self might surprise you. That imperfect, authentic self has so much to offer the world. And that imperfect, authentic self may not be afraid of the future. That self may be ready to embrace uncertainty. That imperfect, authentic self may find joy in the uncertainty and the mystery of life. What would it look like to shed, just to shed those layers that don't seem to quite fit anymore, that don't seem to quite honor who you really are authentically? Those layers that may get in the way from you embracing whatever the future brings, not needing to know exactly what that is. What would that look like for you? Whose life are you living? And what do you want that to look like? I love and embrace my whole self. I'm not inconvenienced by the surprises and mysteries of life. I'm ready. I'm equipped to handle what life brings me. I go with the flow of life, not against the flow. Just let that sink in. Let that marinate for a while. And now taking a deep breath in. You may have a lot to release right now. And starting to just move your shoulders and your ankles and your wrists. Bringing your attention back to your space. Slowly and gently opening your eyes, bringing your attention back to the room. A lot to consider there. And remember, you don't have to do it all now. This is life's work. This is just the beginning, just a taste, and always something that you can come back to. Thank you for being with me today. I hope you'll join me tomorrow. Until then, be well.